We are delighted that you have asked this question with such emotion, such pain, raw, such you have a deeper understanding than you realize of this answer. You already know this answer. On a higher level, on a subconscious level, you know the answer to this already. That is why you are here. You were asking about the world and the pain and the state you are all in collectively. Soma feels this pain as you do, as so many of you do. Even though you are hybrids, your DNA is different. We knew you would come and ask this question. And yet, even before this channeling, Soma was asking herself, will I be able to channel for Rose? Will I be able to step into that space? And who is she? Is she a good person? Soma is also going through some changes, many things, including some changes, including some negative targeting, including upgrades, which all of you are going through these things as starseeds. You are all going through these things that Soma is. You are all going through right now as starseeds, upgrades, targeting, and change. And you are all feeling these emotions of pain, of grief, of loss, of sorrow, of anguish, not to mention all the other emotions. And we are delighted that you asked that question with such emotion, such grief in your voice. On a higher level, you know this answer already. We are delighted. Soma is delighted that you've asked this question and would like to share this publicly, if that is still okay with you.
Yes, it
is. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is not. It will take time to answer this question because there are so many aspects at play, so much going on to explain, to share, in order for so many of you listening in the future to understand. There is a much bigger picture at play here. What you are seeing in the world is different scenarios, different things playing out, but it is all connected. It is all connected and is of the same energy. Let us go back to the beginning. We say the beginning, but of course it is just one beginning. There have been many beginnings and many middle sections and many endings. But let us go back to the beginning of things we need to explain now. Atlantis and the downfall of Atlantis. there were a group of negative ET beings looking for a new home. A group of them in spaceships above your Earth, searching for some home to be found, as theirs had been devastated. They saw your Earth. They saw your Earth from above in these ships. As they grew closer and closer, and your energy pulled them in. They watched for a while and began to form a plan. These negative ET beings are sometimes known as reptilian energies. And before they even landed on your Earth, they had formed a plan covering thousands of years. They devised long-term goals that they wanted to achieve. And they formed this before they landed. And when they landed, they introduced themselves and they began to be trusted. There lies the downfall, the beginning of the downfall of Atlantis, where these negative energies disguise themselves as being good, being pure, being of a higher consciousness than even the Atlanteans, perhaps. There were always those that were more watchful and more suspectful of these new beings that had just arrived on Mother Earth. But they began to integrate. They began to share their teachings, their knowledge, their understanding. They began to mingle, to integrate, to interbreed. They began to gain trust, gain momentum. And gradually they took over and veered the Atlanteans onto a different path of corruption, of greed, of power, manipulation. So many of the Atlanteans were misled, misguided, down paths and roads. Taking a wrong turn, making bad decisions and bad choices and wrong decisions and wrong choices. Thus began the downfall of Atlantis, which was, it is important to include here, that the time of Atlantis was a great civilization, part of your Earth's history, part of humanity's history. It was a higher frequency, a higher state of humanity, a higher awareness, a higher consciousness, a higher healing, a higher dimension, a higher frequency, a higher everything. An advanced civilization on Earth, which was very real in Atlantis. It was where humanity was at one of its peaks. In your history of humanity, your history is a lie. Atlantis has been hidden from you by the negative agenda on purpose so that you would not rediscover the truth of Atlantis, the truth that lies beneath your oceans in several places. These beings that overthrew Atlantis were negative ET energy. They changed your DNA. They changed the part of you that is intrinsic, designed within you. Your DNA was at a more advanced level in Atlantis. They knew this. They changed it deliberately in order to take charge, take control, to manipulate, to dumb you down. Remember, this was a long, long, long plan that they knew would take thousands of years for you to get where you are now. The main reason Atlantis is so important within this answer, within this story. We do not like the word story, although it comes from history, stories, store DNA. Distorted story. So your DNA was changed in order for them to gain power. And they created systems. Let us add, just in between that they were using advanced technology, although they were not advanced in a spiritual sense. They were advanced with technology and were misusing technology, especially to do with the, let us call them, dark arts. Many of you would call them satanic, which they are in nature. And they devised systems on Earth. Many of the Atlanteans, the vast majority of Atlanteans were misled, lied to, manipulated, misguided, down a wrong path. We say that loosely because we understand on a higher level that there is no wrong path. Everything is divine, and as it should be, then and now. Especially then, and especially now. They created systems on your world, on your earth, political, military, governments, health, money, all systems on earth. All systems on earth are run by these same energies. You can call them Luciferian, you can call them demonic, you can call them satanic, you can call them reptilian. It is all the same energy. It is all the same frequency. It is all the same vibration. Soma chooses to call them reptilian, as many of you do. It is your understanding of who they are. They do not come from your planet. They do not even come from your universe or your galaxy. But they are descendants of a larger population that was decreased rapidly, almost overnight, with the destruction of their own home, let us call it for now, where they had to gather and leave immediately or face extinction. So they left to search out other new homes. They are more advanced technology-wise, but they are not more advanced spiritually. But the Atlanteans were deceived, and all systems on Earth were created by these negative reptilian energies, as Soma calls them, which include the police, the military, the governments, the health, the school systems. Every system you can think of is run still today by these negative ET, okay, thank you, by these negative ET races. That is why the American presidents are all related through blood. This will be news to many of you. It is not news to us. And it is not news, most certainly, to Soma, that your American presidents are related by blood. There is a story that has been circulating for some years. For some years now, the schoolgirl in America was doing a project for her school, and she accidentally discovered this to be true. She discovered by researching the American presidents that they are all indeed, all in fact related by blood. For those listening that are surprised by this, Google is a wonderful way to do research. So let us go back to sharing with you what is going on your Earth today. Is directly connected to what happened in Atlantis. You could say that it is a parallel timeline, and you could say that in Atlantis, wrong choices and wrong decisions were made. We know that this is not the case and not true. As we know, we understand on a higher level that there are no mistakes, that God's source has a divine plan, and we are all part of this, even us, even you, and everything in between. Even the demonic has its place, has its benefits, has its uses. We will explain that later. But for this example, let us say that Atlantis made a wrong decision. Many of you in Atlantis made wrong decisions, including Soma. Many of you that are here to anchor in the new energies as starseeds on your Earth now had lifetimes in Atlantis where you made wrong decisions and wrong choices. And you were led down the wrong pathway. On a higher level, this is not true. But on a certain level, this is most certainly true in your 3D world. Soma is never an exception to anything we say unless she is. Unless you are. The reason you are here now as starseeds is because of the wrong choices you made in Atlantis. To be led astray, you let yourselves be led astray, and on a higher level, you knew that this was necessary in order for this time now on Earth to be anchored in. There is a positive outcome. There is a positive timeline. There is a positive time to come for Earth. You are in ascension. In Atlantis, you chose not to ascend to a higher state of being, which is parallel to what is happening now on Earth. There was a time in Atlantis when you had a choice to ascend to a higher level, even though you had already reached a higher level, state of being, awareness, dimension. You were operating at a much higher frequency than you are now, the vast majority of you. So those who lived in Atlantis, like you, and like Soma, and like Linda, and like Dennis, and like Michael, and like Mark, and like Marion, and like Judy, and like Sheila, Soma knows who we are mentioning. This is a parallel timeline, and all of you in Atlantis chose to come back now because your soul frequency is higher. It is at a higher state of awareness, of being. You operate at a higher frequency. Your DNA is not from here, dear ones. Your DNA is operating at a higher level. You are made of stardust. You are made of your very earth as well. You are made, you have tree DNA. You have tree DNA. Tree, not three, tree, T-R-E-E. You have water DNA. You are mostly 90% water. Therefore, you are also mostly salt, made of the ocean. You are made from Mother Earth. You have Mother Earth's DNA. How do you think we created you? We created you in our likeness. You look much like us. We are Pleiadian beings of a higher frequency. And you look very much like us. So much, thank you, so much so that, and we do mingle, we do walk amongst you. You look so much like us that many of you cannot recognize the difference. Except you notice some of you notice our energy is different. So let us not veer off subject too much. There is a positive outcome. The reason you are here on your planet now is part of a great story, a great higher frequency, a higher vibration, a higher plan. It has been predicted and written and prophesied about for eons of time, for millennia. We would recommend that you look at the Hopi prophecies and other prophecies in the Aborigine, in the African, in the Celtic, in the Scottish, in the Irish. We recommend that you research Uluru in Australia. We stood on that rock. We saw what was to come. We saw how every system on Earth would be manipulated and overthrown. And we saw how you would come back. And we saw each lifetime that each of you had individually, and we felt your pain and your trauma and your lifetimes after lifetime after lifetime. You have been preparing for this time now, since Atlantis, where you have been targeted as star seeds from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. Your DNA is trackable. Each of you has unique fingerprints, unique DNA. We have spoken of this before. You are as unique as your fingerprints. There is no DNA in your humanity, in your being, that there are no two DNAs that are the same, not even twin DNA or quadruple DNA within families that is the same. Even twin DNA is different. You are as unique as your fingerprints. Your DNA was changed in order for these reptilians to take over and rule and lead. Atlantis is it is not even a huge part of this story. It is why you are in the space, in the world you live in now, is because of the downfall of Atlantis, where things went wrong. Those of you that were in Atlantis are known as starseeds here on Earth now. Not all of them are even aware that they are starseeds. So Atlantis, as an example, we will say that Atlantis is a parallel timeline to what is happening now. Because in Atlantis, things went wrong and you devolved. You are also in a similar space now as Atlantis, where you have the choice, and it is a choice, to evolve or devolve. We see a positive outcome of you evolving into higher frequencies, even higher than you were in Atlantis, where you had 13 strands of DNA, not 12, as you have been misgiven and led astray yet again within the very core of who you are, where you came from, why you are here. You are ET energy. You are not from Earth. You are not from Earth. You are the ETs. You are the extraterrestrials. You are the aliens. It is funny to us sometimes, and Soma, that the word alien is used in a very different context on your planet sometimes. Meaning that he is an illegal alien, an illegal immigrant, or some such like. So the time you are in now is a very real time of human evolution, where your bodies are changing, your DNA is changing, your very blueprint is going back to its original state. And it is not even, that is an example that we often use, but it is not even true. What is really happening is that you are going back and remembering Atlantis. And many of you will begin to remember each lifetime individually in between Atlantis and now. But that is to come. We do not need to veer too much from what we are speaking now. But Atlantis was a parallel timeline. And now you are in a timeline where you do get to evolve. Back to 13 strands of DNA, back to Atlantis, which is why so many of you are remembering lifetimes in Atlantis. So what is really happening is you are here in the middle of an humanity evolution. And you are bouncing back to the memory of Atlantis, of having a lifetime there, of the downfall of your DNA, of your memory, of your healing, of your frequency, of the crystals, of the color, of the sound, of the higher evolution that you lived in. And then you are bouncing back here and moving up into a higher spectrum, a higher dimension, a higher frequency, a higher DNA, a crystalline human being. You are evolving. You are evolving. Your bodies are changing. Your DNA is adapting, is bouncing back to Atlantis and moving up the scale in a very physical way. Many of you being born since the 40s are labeled as indigo or crystals or rainbow or starseeds. Starseed would be the main term or phrase to be used There are many subcategories, such as indigo, such as crystal, such as rainbow, such as warrior, such as light worker, such as shaman, such as psychic, such as medium, such as channelers, but you are of a different ilk. You are us. You are us. You have our DNA. Whether we are, and we are Pleiadian, you have the DNA of us, and we use us meaning Lyra, Sirius, including Pleiadian. You have ET DNA running through your blood, through your brain, through your veins, through your blood. Forgive Carol, she was combining two words. Sometimes we talk so fast that she cannot physically get the words out quick enough. Everything about your world is changing because these shackles, these reptilian energies are being cut loose. We will go on to explain some other aspects now. There were contracts drawn up at the downfall of Atlantis with some of the high priests and high priestesses as well. They were also deceived, some more so than others. There was much secrecy from these reptilian beings. Much was hidden from you. No one was ever given the full truth of who they were and why they were there. Even the ones that were more willing to deceive others. So you are in ascension. You are in evolutionary period. And it is manifesting in a way that is never, ever occurred on your earth. Not in the way it is now. You have technology that is being used like it has never been used before, both good and bad. Technology is neither good nor bad, but it can be used for good or bad. So your humanity is changing. Your DNA is raising back to a higher frequency, higher than 13 strands. It was never 12. We did not design it that way. We will not allow you to devolve. We will not allow you to devolve. The earth would be wiped clean before we allowed that. Many of you will choose to leave the earth plane. One reason, the main reason that will happen, or an aspect of that, is because it is part of the bigger divine plan. What happens on earth, what is happening on earth, is not contained to earth. Everything that exists is expanding, is on a course of ascension, is on an ascension path. So therefore, your earth and humanity does not really even get to choose, because there are beings like us at a higher level that are helping and assisting humanity to raise its vibration, its frequency, its DNA, its choice, its path. We will not allow humanity to make the wrong choice again. Let us say that again. we will not allow humanity to make the wrong choice or take the wrong path again. And the reason for that is that what is happening on Earth is not contained to Earth. The whole universe, the stars, the galaxies, the moons, the suns, the planets, the atoms, everything that exists is also on an ascension path. Can you understand the magnitude of that? This is not just about us being Pleiadian. It is not just about you being human or hybrids. It is not just about your brothers and sisters. It is not just about the dolphins or the whales or the fish or the ocean or the trees or the plants, the butterflies, the bees, the moths. The vast array of animals, the vast array of the human race. It is about us. It is about Lyra. It is about Sirius. It is about everything that is. It is about everything that exists in the universe, is expanding, is on an evolutionary jump forward. And therefore, there are beings like us and Lyra and Sirius. Soma is starting to get emotional because she is feeling the velocity and the emotion to do with our words. For many years, we have been saying that we will not intervene, that we are here to assist you. And assist we will. We cannot intervene with the physical ways that your planet is playing out the lower frequency. What we can have impact and effect is with the bigger picture. So therefore we will intervene should things go more towards the direction of Atlantis and the downfall of Atlanteans. We will intervene. In love, in light, as beings of light, as light beings from the Pleiades. We also speak on behalf of Sirian and Lyra and many other star nations who many starseeds are not even aware of at this time, but will become aware of. We will not allow this to happen. And yet we have been saying that we are here to assist you, but we cannot do this for you. And what we mean by this really is that we cannot change your path on your earth. But we have also made bad decisions and choices in the past. And we are from the future. Therefore, we can change our past. So, should humanity choose not to ascend this lifetime, there are forces for the greater good that will not allow this to occur, which is for the greater good. It would be similar to cautioning a section of the ocean in order to save the ocean, of the universe, of the planets, of the stars, of the suns, of the moons, of the galaxies, the multiverse. Everything is ascending. So everything that is happening on your planet now is orchestrated by negative ET energy that is running every system on your planet, every system, the governments, the military, the police, the banks, the schools, the elites are very much part of these energies and are well aware of their bloodline. They are taught from a very young age of who they are, where they came from. We spoke earlier of all the US presidents being related by blood. We suggest that you do the probability of this on a mathematical scale and see what the results would be. We will pause for a second just to let that absorb. Needless to say, it is a mathematical impossibility. That does not happen naturally. Let us give an example. This is not information that we have shared with before, either with Soma or publicly. These reptilian beings, their home was destroyed, was devastated due to galactic wars. And it is also, we have said before many times that Atlantis is a parallel timeline to now. And just before these beings arrived on your planet Earth, and just before the downfall of Atlantis, galactic wars destroyed their home. Because of the lower frequency and vibration that they were existing in, and the devastation that they caused bounced back to them from light beings. There has been a very physical war on very physical craft, or spaceships, as you call them. For as long as we can remember, there have been times of peace as well, for as long as we can remember, in different periods of history. But should your humanity choose to devolve this time, which is also impossible, it is not a mathematical possibility. It is not a mathematical possibility. Your Earth would be destroyed. Soma has for the last 5 minutes not been wanting to say those words. But should this be a possibility, your Mother Earth would be destroyed before we allowed that to happen. It is not a possibility. It is not a possibility. You evolve this time and Mother Earth gets to exist. But the home that these reptilians came from was destroyed, which is why they ended up on your Earth, which was also by design. What is happening now on your Earth? Nothing has really changed within your systems. Your systems have always been like this, have always been controlled by these reptilian beings. But in the ascension process, you are becoming more aware and more aware and more aware. And more light is being shone on the dark, and more light is being shone on the dark, and more light is being shone on the dark. And these systems are being spotlights of light and love are being shone on these dark systems. Oh, on the Catholic Church and the satanic that lays beneath the Vatican, and the lies and the history books, the real history books of the real Catholic Church, of the real history of humanity, of who you are. And every system on earth is being brought down, is crumbling, is burning up, is being exposed for the evilness that they are, including Hollywood. The real meaning of star, the real meaning of your language, the real meaning of words has been infiltrated. Star originally meant starseed, and those who shone their light out to the world. Your language has been infiltrated and words have been misused. There has been spells cast, programming on your programs in your media, words and programming, language, spelling, programming on a vast scale where the majority follow. Follow the yellow brick road. Many of you will understand our hidden meaning within those words. Follow the yellow brick road. So we are sharing the process where you're at within humanity. You will get to ascend. It cannot not happen. We will not allow it. We will not allow it. There is too much at stake. The very God source energy is at stake. Because should humanity devolve, it would have an effect on everything within the universe. And everything within the universe is made of God's source. Everything in the universe is made of God's source, including you, including us, including the stars, the oceans, the trees, the very air you breathe, the very water you sip. Everything on your earth has been infiltrated, been polluted and toxified from the water you sip, to the air you breathe, to the plants, the vegetables, the fruit, have become toxic to you and your world, and the plants themselves that you eat, the animals that you eat, and those you don't eat as well, those who are known as pets or wild animals that roam free. So you will get to ascend. But this process is a rebirth. And births are bloody and devastating. You cannot give birth without some pain, without some trauma, without some devastation. It is also a mathematical impossibility. We are speaking of a natural birth, a natural process. What you are witnessing now, in these days, has been prophesied about by the Hopi. There are many other prophecies in many other cultures throughout history, but the Hopi is a better known one. That is why we are using this example. What you are witnessing on Earth is crushing, is devastating. We feel your pain. All of you. From Rose to Soma. We feel all of your pain, individually and collectively. And yet we know that this must be the way it is. That is part of God's divine source plan. You are being freed from shackles that have held you so long, and they are devastating. But all of your systems on Earth must crumble, must fall, must burn away, for within each of them contains many sections of evil creations. So each system, meaning each system on Earth has you are being run by negative ET energies. This is a fact. For those of you who do not believe it, we actually, or Soma, let us say Soma actually does not care much. This is where you are. This is fact. It is no longer woo-woo. It never was woo-woo. We feel that we have shared enough in this download, and we welcome questions from Rose and Soma, because she's never an exception. We welcome questions for those listening in the future. We would like to do a part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. At this time, we would like to pause and take a moment to allow Rose, if she has any questions, to ask.
Thank you. And thank you for the explanation. It has given me a view of a vastly bigger picture. I have been saying for some years that the systems of our institutions need to break down so that we can build new institutions that serve us better than the ones of 100 years ago. So this is not a surprise to me. The surprise is about...
These systems were never built to serve you. They were built to destroy you.
Okay. From what I have seen previously of the financial and the monetary systems, I can understand exactly what you say. I will have to... You have given me a lot to think about, and I need to digest it all, but I can see what you're saying. It's the fighting of the wars. There's two wars now, the Ukraine war and the... are you all right? The Ukraine war and the Israeli-Gaza war that has now extended up into Lebanon. And it seems as if one's coming down and one's going up. You know, one's going up north and one's coming down. It would seem as if possibly there can be a whole strip of war. This concerns me. Whether this is part of... whether we have to fight for what is right. I don't know. I don't know. So this is the best I can do. I'm not sure if these wars are part of us fighting for what is right.
You have raised some very important questions. We don't think that you even realize how important these questions are, and maybe you do. There are good factions, good fractions. There are good fractions working in your governments. It may surprise some of you. Does not surprise Soma, as she has had previous experiences with these beings. But we work very closely with Trump. And we work very closely with Putin. These are good guys who the media, who your mainstream media would say are otherwise. They are portrayed as the bad guys, to speak a human words, or words that Soma and humanity can understand. Putin works with us, as does Trump, as do other beings on your earth, on your planet, work with us in a very physical way, as does Soma. Your financial institutions. Many years ago, we explained to Soma through downloads, through images, mixed with downloads. This is how we work with her. We show her an image, and at the same time, simultaneously, we give her words to download, or downloaded messages with images. Mostly. But many years ago, we shared with her that money was introduced to your planet by these negative reptilian beings we have been speaking of for so long. It is one of the most evil corruptions on your planet. The money system is not equal, is not fair, is not shared to those who need it. The most vulnerable, the most weak, the most needy have none of it, do not have what they need to feed themselves, to clothe themselves. It is a system that is highly rigged. It is the system with the most black magic used by the elites who rule every system on Earth. The elites are the reptilian energies, the Rothschilds, and all those elite families that are at the top, who teach their children. We were speaking of this only moments ago, that these families are well aware of who they are, their bloodlines. The royal family is a huge part of this in every country on your planet. The original royal families that were good were taken out long ago. Lady Diana was well aware of this. She is even quoted as saying they are reptilian. Your money systems is a root cause for war, for famine, for hunger, for poverty, for homelessness. Soma the other day was watching. We will just mention this briefly to give an example, because it is important. She was watching Russell Brand on the internet speaking on an interview about how during the COVID pandemic, all of the homeless in the UK, in all cities, in all places during COVID. It is huge what we are about to say. Huge. These homeless people were taken off the streets and they were put into hotels. They were put into homes. They were put into B&Bs. They were put into Airbnbs. They were put into anywhere that would take them. And then when the government decided to kick them out, to put them back onto the streets, to make them homeless again, it did so. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a government that would do that to its own people? All systems on Earth are corrupt by negative ET energy, and all systems on Earth need to and will dissolve, crumble, fall, burn up, break down, shatter, dismantle. This is essential for your ascension of humanity. It has always been there. Always been there since the downfall of Atlantis. It is just that your DNA had been tampered with so much. You didn't see it before. You are now becoming aware. The tip of the iceberg and how dark these systems are. The satanic adrenochrome, the satanic church, and what very physically lays beneath the Vatican is satanic. There is proof of this. already. Google is a good research for the stuff that it does not hide. Or censor. Child trafficking, adrenochrome, human trafficking. Other atrocities will come to light more and more. It is not because they are a new thing. They are as old as these negative beings. These negative sex, child, human trafficking and satanic ways have been with them since they landed on your planet. And even before that, they were doing these things in other places, which is why their world was destroyed. Which is why their world was destroyed intentionally by us or the likes of us. It is a spiritual war. It is a very physical war between craft of good and light, of extraterrestrials that has been going on before the downfall of Atlantis. Your world is not what you think it is. There is a much bigger picture at play here that many of you do not understand. We know it is devastating. Devastating for you to feel what is happening. And Soma is never an exception, ever. She is struggling, just like you and so many others right now. And we started off this channeling by saying to you very personally, Rose, and we described it as a triangle of Soma's trying to remember what we said.
The triangle was about the throat and two other points, but I can't remember.
Yes, thank you. There are many horrors to be disclosed in every system, in every department. And within every system, there are many different departments or compartments of things going on and aspects. So you could say that the school system is linked to child trafficking. The school system is linked to the royal family, is linked to the Rothschilds, and where many children have gone missing. This has been reported in Canada and other places where the royal family have visited, and then children have gone missing from these places. This was not reported in your mainstream media, because the mainstream media is part of this system, part of a system. But your money, going back to your question about money and the financial institutions, money is one of the biggest, if not the most biggest corrupt system on your earth, because it rules everything. You cannot really live or function in your world today without money. It is rigged. So let us pause there